I'm already crying. I haven't even said anything yet. Got a big ass box of tissues. I came prepared. My parents. My parents are amazing people. And I'm so lucky to be able to call them my mom and dad. I don't know how I'm gonna get through this video. Oh my God, I'm gonna be dehydrated by the time this is over. My parents gave me and my brother the best gift that any parents could give their children. Also, what I believe is the only thing parents owe their children. That's the gift of unconditional love. My parents love my brother and I so much, despite the multitude of things we've done over the last few decades to push that love. They have never stopped loving us. That unconditional love is the strongest thing in the world, I believe. That love has empowered me in so many ways. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Jackie and I help people find happier, healthier, and most importantly, more fulfilling lives through finding a balance between their mind, body, and soul. When Mother's Day rolled around, I decided to hold back because my dad is the most humble man in the world. He's also impossible to shop for. So this video and a good meal is my dad's Father's Day gift. My dad wouldn't be my dad if it wasn't also for my mom and them as a team together. This is a video for both of my parents. My parents both came from blue-collar families, so we're talking union workers, firefighters, nurses. So my dad was in the Navy and then he retired out of the FDNY as a captain. My mom is a registered nurse. Where I come from, you go to school, you get a good job, you work, you save, and then you retire. You do everything safe and secure. That's not me. My parents let me choose my path. Even when they didn't necessarily understand it, they always supported it. I was traveling a lot for work between 2015 and 2020. I was here at my parents' house. I hear my dad on the phone. I guess they asked, "How are your kids doing?" And I hear him say, "Oh, Matt, you know, he's doing great. He's in the Marble Union. He's working down at the Oculus at the World Trade Center." Jackie, I don't really know what she does. She's doing something on the internet. She's helping people to travel the world, but she's making good money, so I guess she's doing okay. My dad, who still has a flip phone, couldn't necessarily understand the work that I was doing online marketing. They supported it. When I asked them at 34 years old, can I move home? I'm going to close my very successful businesses. I need to start a YouTube, start a website. I don't know when I'm going to start making money again, but I just know that this is what I'm supposed to be doing with my life. I know that this is where I belong right now. Without question, they let me come home into their house. They haven't once questioned my motives. Do they understand it? No. I mean, does my dad sometimes tell me about the job fair that he saw in the news? He asked me about my income a few times, of course. He supports me nonetheless. They have unconditionally allowed me to become the woman that I'm supposed to be, the woman I want to be, despite any of the desires or ideas that they had in their head for who I might become. They always said that they thought I would be a lawyer. I've been out negotiating them since I was 3 years old. I would have been a great lawyer, and I know I would have been a great lawyer. I was also really good in my law classes. 40, 60, 80-hour weeks in an office, that's not me. That's not who I am. That's not what I want for my life. And they allowed me to choose what I wanted for my life. When people have children, they have an idea in their mind about what kind of adults they'll grow up to be, what kind of people they'll be. I'm really so blessed to have parents who let me become who I wanted to be without putting their ideas about who I should be onto me. I could talk for hours about how wonderful my parents are. Parents are really two of the kindest, least judgmental. They always do the right thing. They're just good people. And I'm so lucky to have good people as my parents. I really am so blessed and so lucky to have them, to come from them and to have learned from them in consideration of time. I'm going to talk about two of the biggest lessons that my parents have taught me over the last 35 years. Those lessons are forgiveness and patience. Even though it's a Father's Day gift, I'm going to start with ladies first. The forgiveness that my mom taught me. I know this might be hard for some people to digest. I was one of those like problem teenagers. I was like the headache teenage daughter that you don't want to have. I was likely on punishment more than I wasn't throughout my teenage years. I was always doing dumb shit like sneaking out or trying to throw a party, running away when I would get caught. I actually, in retrospect, calling me a headache teenager might be an understatement. I was like a migraine teenager. I would just do dumb shit and I would get in trouble. I would get grounded. I would get my phone taken away or privileges taken away. After the dust would settle, after I got yelled at and scolded, it was typically that same night, but sometimes what I did was so bad that it had to wait until the next morning for the dust to settle. My mom would come to me and she would give me a hug and she would say to me, "What's the best part about being a mom?" And I would answer that you always give me another chance. My mom gave me endless chances. She gave me more chances than I ever deserved. She really did. And then I would fuck up and I would fuck up again and I would fuck up again. And I would get in trouble, I would get yelled at. She let me know I was wrong, but she also let me know that regardless of me making mistakes, I was still loved. People, especially young people who aren't grown up at all, make mistakes. My mom taught me that we all deserve forgiveness. It's not only something that we deserve, but it's also something that we should be giving to other people as well. As I made my mistakes and I got forgiven a million times, my parents started to teach me patience. And they were patient with me. That patience is a lesson that I especially learned from my dad. My dad is very easily the most patient man I think I will ever know, the most patient person that I will ever know. For the longest time, I've been the complete opposite. I have no patience. I'm like hit the ground running, total hothead. I know that that might be hard for people who are seeing me now to understand. I've been angry, I've been reactive, I've been not a patient person in the past. I think I was about 3 years old when my dad started to tell me, "Jackie, you have to count to 10. I'd throw a tantrum. "Jackie, count to 10. I can't tell you how many times I reacted poorly out of anger or frustration. And my dad would say, "Count to 10. You have to learn how to count to 10. My dad never expressed his frustration or his disappointment with me. Even when I was being frustrating or disappointing, I was frustrating and disappointing on multiple occasions. I'm sure that I still am. He let me make my mistakes. He let me react at 1 or 2 and then reminded me, "Hey, wait until you get all the way to 10. And then a few years ago, I don't know what happened exactly, but I didn't react. And my dad just like looked at me and he says, "Wow, you know, it took you 30 years, but you finally learned how to count to 10. My dad knew that the lesson of patience that he was teaching me was one of the most important lessons that we can learn as humans. But he didn't beat me over the head with it. He always reminded me calmly and patiently, but he never forced it on me. He let me learn it on my own time. It just circles back to the unconditional love that my parents have always poured into me and my brother, even if we didn't deserve it. We've pushed some buttons in our day. For that, I feel truly like I'm one of the luckiest women in the world, and I know I am. To know the unconditional love that I know, not only from one of my parents, but from both of my parents, is the most rare thing on the planet. The greatest gift that they could have ever given me. Within that unconditional love, they allowed me to grow into who I was meant to be, into the person that I want to be, into a person that I am proud to be. I would not be here as the person that I am today without the love and support that they have always given me. I took it for granted, especially when I was younger. As I got older, I realized how lucky I am, how incredibly lucky I am to be able to call my parents my mom and dad. I'm going to end that here for today because I will just continue to cry and go on. Thank you so much for coming back to my channel. My name is Jackie and I help people find happier, healthier, and more fulfilling lives by finding a balance between their mind, body, and soul. I make new videos every Monday and Friday, so don't forget to click subscribe, and I will see you at the beginning of next week.